All right. Hi, GDQ. This is an honor. Like, it's every speedrunner's dream to be here. So, my name's Yomsa. I've been speedrunning this game for like 3 years, world record holder for 2. And yeah, for the most part, I'm going to be like focusing on my gameplay, just doing my best. My commentators are very good at their jobs, and they'll handle all the work for explaining like how things work. And I'll just focus on putting on a good show. So on that note, I'll hand it over to Ace, one of my commentators.
Hi, I'm 7th Ace, and joining me today in my wonderful commentary booth is twinkachu.
Hello. We're so excited to be here. This is so crazy.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite games. We get to talk about it for all of you. It's fantastic. We're going to have a wonderful time with a great soundtrack, great runner, and hopefully some great commentary.
Yeah, here's hoping.
Perfect.
All right.
So we can just do a countdown?
Yeah, are we ready to go?
All right, I guess so.
Yeah.
You want to count me down, Ace?
Absolutely. In 3, 2, 1, go. Woo!
All right, so we're starting out in the garage, which is just the tutorial level. It's going to teach us how to move around the world.
Yeah, this is an open world game for the most part. It'll kind of expand as we go throughout the game. This garage is the central hub. We will be starting every chapter here, and we'll be passing through here frequently. So get familiar with this location. We will be here a lot.
Yeah. We are currently playing as Yo-Yo, one of the skaters in this gang called the GGs. Gum, one of the other GGs, is walking us through how to skate on rails, how to pick up cans, which are our power source in the game, stuff like that. All very basic.
Yep, we'll be using all of this as the fundamentals of the game as we go forward. A bit of history and insight into this game. This is a sequel-ish to Jet Set Radio, which many of you have been familiar with and has been featured at GDQs before. This run was featured at SGDQ 2017. It is now 7.5 years later, and a lot of things look different with it. It's really an exciting run.
Yeah, we'll be completely different from the previous run, so we're excited to show things off.
Absolutely. So, that is the quick end of the tutorial. We are playing in Japanese because it saves time on cutscenes.
Speaking of which, here we have a gigantic cutscene. Perfect way to start the run. Here we meet our narrator, DJ Professor K, who will be walking us through the plot of the game, as we head into our first level.
Yeah, he runs a pirate radio station. He's got the scoop on the streets, and he is ready to tell us all of that juicy tea that is throughout this game. So he's our main plot device here, and right now he's telling us about the villains highlighted in this red background. This is Rokaku Goji, leader of the Rokaku group, and he is our antagonist for the entire run.
Yeah, so we are part of this gang called the GGs, and throughout various levels and environments we will be fighting against the Rokaku group in various forms and scenarios.
Yeah, so they're showing about the cops currently, and our Hayashi opponent here in the blue. We'll be seeing more of him as the run goes along. Again, they will be the antagonists for at least the first. These people specifically on your screen now are the antagonists for the first while, and these are the GGs, as twinkachu was referring to.
Yeah. Also, cannot stress enough how frustrating it is to speedrun a game that starts with a 2-minute cutscene, like 2 minutes into the run.
Perfect.
It's excellent for commentary purposes, but as a speedrun, infuriating.
Yeah. So this is Yo-Yo. He's our introductory character. We'll never be seeing him again. There's Gum in her goth purple skin, so thank you everybody for donating towards that bid war. That skin looks fantastic, and Korn flames on his skates, and he's going to go fast for a total of about 45 seconds.
Yeah, we'll be playing as Yo-Yo for the first chapter, and then we'll switch to Gum for the majority of the run, which is why the Gum skin was on the bid war.
Yep, that is a vast majority of the speed run. And of course, that was a little bit of an intro to the levels. We'll be detailing them more and more as this run goes along and give you a nice big deep dive into the futuristic world of Tokyo To, taking place in the future when this game came out in 2002, in the year of 2024. Welcome to the year of JSRF.
Happy JSRF year. Really so appropriate that this is the year that we finally get to come back and showcase this game.
It's fantastic. Couldn't have worked out any better.
It's all coming together. All right, we survived the cutscene. We can go to the first level.
All right, that was the first trick of the run. It's a minor speed boost, and it is now technically still optimal into Dogen. And this is Dogenzaka Hill. These levels in JSRF are iconic in their designs and colors and everything, and it's set forth a genre for years to come that has been followed by games like Bomb Rush Cyberpunk and Lethal League Blaze and other things like that. So this whole style is very, very cool.
And this game is still a cult classic. Okay, so we're entering Dogenzaka Hill, our first actual level of the game, which is kind of still an extended tutorial. We're just putting the skills we learned into use. We're also going to pick up our first collectible. This is a graffiti soul. We will be collecting a bunch of them throughout the run.
Yep, we actually have to pick up 20 of those before we hit Chapter 7, which will be a little more than an hour into the run, so we have a lot of time. This game is fantastic to speedrun in the sense that it's a ton of fun moving from point A to point B, and that's 90% of this game. There's a lot of different techniques that you use to move around the level. When you have these flames off your skates, that's a boost. You're trading cans to gain a ton of speed. After that, you'll shuffle. That preserves your speed. Right now, Yomsa's on a rail. Grinding is a fast form of movement that allows you to navigate the levels quickly, and it's set by the developers to do something cool like that. That's a boost into a jump, into picking up extra cans, sliding with a shuffle on the ground, hopping from this rail, and then spraying more graffiti. This is the gameplay loop that we as speedrunners, all of us here on the couch, runner, and behind me, all just absolutely adore.
Yeah, the movement system is a little bit hard to get a handle on, but once you figure it out, it's so satisfying to move through all of the levels.
Yeah, I remember a review in an article of this, came out a couple years ago, that said the joy of movement, echoing the words of Bob Ross, and honestly, I could not be, couldn't be more accurate.
And with that, we're finished with our first round of graffiti, and we meet our first rival skater. This is Beat, super iconic for some reason.
I wonder, is he on the box art of this game?
He sure is,
wow,
for some reason.
That's crazy. We're going to go talk to him, and he's going to show us just a little bit of movement. This game does an excellent job of giving us in-game movement tutorials where slowly NPCs will do more and more advanced movement, telling the player, hey, you can do this in a very interesting way. Right there, Yomsa took a quick detour to pick up a mystery tape. We'll be using that once in just a couple minutes to grab an extra graffiti soul unlock.
Yeah, so there are a bunch of graffiti souls that are on the map by default, but there are more that are unlockable through movement challenges, and you have to pick up this mystery tape to unlock them. There's only one unlockable soul that's faster to get, so this is the only instance that this is going to show up, but still important to know.
Yeah, there are 105 different graffiti souls that we could pick up throughout this run, but only about 22 of them are very viable, and it turns out that that mystery tape and then doing an unlock here by doing 3 air tricks, 1, 2, 3, is the 20th fastest thing we could do, so it's included.
Now we're going to race Beat. We did his movement challenge, and now we have to do a lap around the level. And you should explain the science behind this cool trick we're about to see.
All right, well, that was it right there. Please clap. Excellent. This is called negative shuffle. Normally when you shuffle, as explained earlier, your speed slowly decreases as you shuffle longer. However, when you get negative speed by slamming into Beat, the calculation that creates the equation for a shuffle kind of messes up, and it ends up increasing your speed over time. So we are starting to rocket way faster than we are supposed to across Dogenzaka Hill.
Yeah, I think that saves about 8 seconds over just running down that street normally.
It does, and it is a very, very cool trick. It has a very precise timing window, so it's not super easy to do, but it looks so stinking cool.
What would you say is a typical time for this race if people wanted to bet on it?
If we were to take a guess at what a time would be, I would put something in the 1:15, maybe 98 seconds on it. We will have to see what Yomsa does and if she can go super fast.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit below average, to be honest, so it'll be like a 116.
Frame boost.
Oh, very close.
That's the one.
That was very close. A frame boost is a one-frame trick that we may reference a couple times. It is a 14% speed boost that is an exact one-frame trick. So if you jump off a rail, the exact frame you enter it, you get that speed boost. It's very, very instrumental in individual level speedruns.
in any percent, it's just cool.
Yeah, you just go for it, and sometimes you just get to feel awesome.
Yeah. You can chain them together, and the speed boost will stack also. You can go flying. It's awesome.
Yeah, exponential increase of speed is sweet.
All right, we're going into our first cop fight. So the Rokaku group sends in a bunch of cops, and the way that we defeat them is we run into them and then spray them with spray paint.
It sounds like spray paint is going to be the answer to all of our problems in the speed run. What would you think of that?
The Rokaku group should really invest in like spray paint proofing their equipment.
We'll see if they do that. I have a feeling they may not.
I don't think they will.
Oh, that's a shame. So that was the end of Dogenzaka Hill. We are going to head into, I would consider the most iconic level of this entire game, Shibuya Terminal. It's one that features absolutely everywhere.
The city's biggest non-stop dance party. Let's hit this joint and cover up that freaky-looking graffiti.
DJK is doing our job for us.
He's our third commentator, and we appreciate him.
Yeah. So here we meet Poison Jam, our first rival gang of the game. For the first 3-ish chapters of the game, we'll be racing against these guys, these weird lizard dudes.
Yeah, they're in a little bit of a turf war with us, and so we're going to try and spray all of their graffiti to show them that this is our town, and we're going to do that in blazing fast time.
This is a much more interesting level routing-wise because it isn't just a giant loop. It's this giant, wide-open area, and so you can take much more interesting routes around it.
Yeah, and you can use different interesting movement tech. What you see Yomsa doing right now is a quick turn, where you can turn left 90 degrees very, very quickly while preserving momentum. And that's very important because we're preserving momentum. It lets you fly around the levels even faster. Normally you'd have to skate and then skid and come to a complete stop, then turn around to be able to make any kind of turn. But with these quick turns, we cancel the animation for it, and we're able to really preserve our momentum even though we're not on any kind of rails or anything like that. It's a really fun and instrumental technique that you'll see throughout the entire run.
Generally, we try to be on rails as often as possible because it's faster than walking on the ground, but in levels like this where all of the sprays are on the ground, that's obviously not very viable. And with that, we're done with the graffiti. Poison Jam is going to do another little movement challenge like the one we did with Beat last level. So they're going to run around and say, do this trick the way that we're doing it.
I want to do it mostly the same. They show us that you can jump across gaps, gain height, and other very interesting things. This game has a lot of cool verticality to it, and it tries to leverage that in a lot of ways to make interesting levels and interesting movement tech.
Yeah, so we go up and say hi to them to show that we did the challenge. Then they move into the next sequence of it, which we're going to do exactly the same way. Pay close attention, because we're going to do the same thing, I promise.
Yep, it'll be just like this. They're showing you can jump down, jump up, jump over some different stairwells, and they're going to jump to the left and then land down here, and we have to meet them. And again, just like that.
Okay, see, we're doing exactly the same thing. Except, just kidding, we're just gonna run across this because there are no checkpoints in any of that sequence, so you can do whatever you want.
As long as you talk to them at the very end, that's it. So, identicality proven right there.
You just have to get to whatever end point they end up at.
Yeah. So again, they're going to go ahead and show you that you can jump on these bus terminals. So we're gonna do, once again, something fairly similar, but also faster as we always do. And then they're going to go ahead and leave.
They're embarrassed because we were better at skating than they were. They have to leave.
That's my mood every time I watch Yomsa play.
Seriously. All right, we see another rival skater. This is Combo, who is going to give us another little movement challenge. This one actually has some checkpoints, so we have to do something more similar to what he's going to show us. Although we're still going to make some optimizations because we're good like that.
We're going to put our own speedrun flair on it if you wish. So, yeah it's... Again, he's going to just skate across Shibuya Terminal, and this is not like the most trivial piece of movement if you've ever just played this for the first time. It's really a cool way of teaching the player that they can do cooler and cooler things as the levels evolve, and you know, I really like this kind of tutorial system.
Yeah, the very gradual tutorial where everything's integrated into the levels makes the game flow much more cohesively, rather than locking you in a tutorial forever.
Yep. Yeah, that was pretty much identical, do an extra boost and preserve the speed by jump over to the side and land roughly where Combo did, and that's the end of the challenge.
Poison Jam comes back and is going to go somewhere else. We'll see them in a couple levels.
Yep, they decide that they cannot handle these hands that Yomsa has provided, and Combo is going to join us now.
Yeah. We are then going to go into our next cop fight, which will be similar to the last one, except Hayashi, who's a recurring villain, will make his first appearance. Except it's barely an appearance because you don't actually have to fight him for some reason. He's just there.
Yeah, it's strange. There are going to be 21 cops total, 4 groups of 5 each, and then a 21st enemy, Hayashi, right there in the middle in the long blue jacket. And for some reason, he just doesn't count for the victory condition here, so we don't have to knock him down.
Poor guy.
Sorry, Hayashi, you're taking L's, and I'm sure it'll get better for you. So we knock over the first group, jump over this rail, and then knock the cops into each other. The cops do have collision with each other, so when Yomsa knocks them into the air, they just collide into each other like bowling pins and just knock everybody down, and boom, fight done in a record amount of time.
Yes, the way that that movement sequence gets explained to new runners is think of them like bowling pins.
I came up with that. I like bowling.
Yeah, I figured. And with that, we're done with the first chapter, and we head into chapter 2.
Yep, DJ Professor K is going to exposit our next chapter of work. There's going to be 3 different levels. This one being Chuo Street, we'll be seeing that one immediately. There they are, just causing chaos in the area. And then in Rokakudai Heights, as he just said.
How many times have you played this game?
Can I elect not to answer that question? I'll answer it off the record, please.
Okay, enough that you should know what the levels are called.
Oh, he said it. I didn't want to overwrite him.
Oh, okay. You're being respectful.
Of course. He's our 3rd commentator.
Of course.
So this is 99th Street. We'll be seeing that a little bit later, and Rapid 99, who are our foes there. And of course, Hayashi giving us the most smug look and definitely demonstrating proper gun safety here. Please don't do this. And don't break the bones in your neck for that either.
Yeah, this guy just shows up and is unhinged every time you see him.
Honestly, he's fantastic for the game, and I appreciate Hayashi, even if he only takes L's.
He doesn't do all that much actual damage. He's just kind of a mild inconvenience. I feel kind of bad for the guy.
Yeah. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and make our first character swap over to Gum. There is the skin you all chose again. Thank you very much for participating in that bid war.
And we are going to head into Chuo Street, our first level of Chapter 2.
Yep, we're going to go ahead and boost directly across Shibuya Terminal, and we're going to enter the main gameplay loop that'll sustain the next roughly 45 minutes of this run, where we're going to be going into an area, spraying graffiti, and usually having to either defeat cops or have to go against a rival gang in some kind of way. And we're going to see that right here at the very beginning. So once Yomsa gets in, we're going to get a transmission over the radio, and the cops are going to be talking. At that point, we're on a little bit of a timer. The triggers for the cops do not spawn in until the cop dialogue finishes. So they're going to monologue here for a little bit, and we're going to take care of a bunch of out-of-the-way stuff really quickly. And then after that, the cops are going to spawn in. So she's going to boost right up here, and on the last line of the cop dialogue, we're going to jump up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, spray that, and boom, right before that dialogue finishes, she finishes a spray. Great job.
You'll see that in a lot of levels, using this introductory cop dialogue to get things that are out of the way or inconvenient, or to avoid triggers altogether. That'll become more important in a couple of levels. We'll get there.
Yeah, it's really cool as a way to, have a checkpoint. How good is your movement? How fast are you? Can you complete this trick in this amount of time? And it's one of the real skill checkpoints of this run, and it's so much fun.
Also, we're fighting a bunch of heavily armored tanks because that's a normal and reasonable response to one teenager doing graffiti.
6 tanks is a lot of tanks, but unfortunately they did not take your suggestion and spray paint proof them, so it's very easy to take them out by just going up to it, tagging the left side, right side, and then when the operator pops out, making a little graffiti on his face and moving on.
They really gotta spray paint proof their tanks.
I'm sure they will.
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either.
So we're just gonna run through this area, grab one last tank at the end of this main strip of road, and then we will go on to fight Hayashi.
Yep, after this 6-1 is done, Hayashi appears on the roof of this building, challenges us to a 1v1 on the top of Rust, and decides that the person who has beaten us up repetitively will be a great opponent. So what Yomsa is going to do is boost right on over to that area, and normally we would have to spray his back just as we did earlier, but just as we did earlier, we're not actually going to do that. We're going to lure him over to the edge and then yeet him off the edge, and goodbye Hayashi.
This is our place I want to highlight. We have these custom modded in tags for AGDQ. We've got some GDQ logos, a tag that a bunch of our community members signed, some sponsor images. We have a really excellent modding scene, and so we can do all sorts of fun texture mods like this gum skin and this custom graffiti.
Yeah, shout out to the modders of the community that have made this happen. Of course, one of them holding the Xbox in the back. We really appreciate it.
You can see. I also want to call attention to the knocking Hayashi off of a roof thing, because you'll see that as a strategy a lot later in the run too, this alternate victory condition for fights. A lot of the time you can either spray down the enemy as intended or complete the challenge as intended, or you can do something weirder to satisfy the condition too.
Yep. During this time, Yomsa is going to be going around the backside of Chuo Street, spraying some graffiti, and just having a great time with the music. So if we have any time for any recent donations or whatever, we could take those now.
All right, excellent. Hey, first, real quick, just wanted to tell you that outfit color choice, since we brought up the bid war a couple times, it did raise over $2,500 for the Prevent Cancer Foundation, so that was excellent, and I just had to mention it. Speaking of raising money for charity, though, yeah, $20 from Cherry Scary saying, "Happy GDQ, excited to spend this chilly week curled up on the couch, or in bed, or at my desk, soaking in all these amazing runs, donating to get us to that Arkham City hard mode." Thank you for that. And, you know, I love all donations, but I especially enjoy donations of this style. It's $25 from 7th Ace and Twinkachu. Hi, from the commentators behind you who are busy talking about this awesome run. It's great to have so much of the JSRF community here for such a great game. Thank you very much for your donation.
You're welcome.
I can't believe someone gets to respond to me for that for once. $25 from Master Quake. Love me some Doom. Also love me some Arkham City. So here's some towards hard mode. Yeah, bringing that up again. Let you know, Arkham City hard mode. Last time I spoke about it, we'd raised over 10 grand. We're now over $12,000. We're halfway to the goal. We've just got the rest of this run because we have to meet Batman Arkham City hard mode before that run starts. So get your donations in toward that now if you'd like to make things a little more difficult on the runner.
All right, are we?
Yeah, so during those donations, we went ahead and finished up the graffiti there, and Poison Jam challenged us to a race. You may conspicuously notice that we are not racing Poison Jam. Instead, we are going to head directly into Rakakodai Heights, the next level, and then you know, deal with that problem as it arises, because we didn't race them.
This is setting up the first major skip sequence break of the run, so you'll see that in a minute. But first we're going to do some normal graffiti.
Yep, we got to assert more dominance over Poison Jam, so we're going to go ahead and cover up their turf. And honestly, I really like this graffiti route. It's one of the most interesting ones. It's not one of those lap levels where you go just around in a loop. That's a linear pattern. This one really has a lot of wide open possibilities on what you can do with it, similar to Shibuya Terminal.
Yeah, it's got two kind of primary layers with this gate in between that you'll see in a second. Racing Poison Jam is supposed to unlock that gate. You'll see it down kind of at the bottom by those tags. But it's locked because we didn't race Poison Jam, so we have to figure something else out instead.
Well, what could we possibly do but some very reasonable thing, like jumping up onto this rail here, jumping onto the top of this house, jumping on the roof, then boosting over here, clipping out of bounds through the wall, landing on this platform, and then speeding right around the outside to hit a big death plane. And anytime you fall into water or into the void, you'll respawn at one of the specified death warp planes. And this one just so happens to be on the other side of that gate, so we have made it to the back half of Rakakadai Heights.
We have successfully skipped to the Poison Jam race. Sorry, guys. Here we see the first cop fight of the level. There are technically 3 in this level, but this is the only one we're going to do because the triggers to the other 2 are avoidable. So,
how convenient for us.
I know, it's perfect.
Notable in there is the armored cop who does require a boost to knock down.
Yeah. The way that the game kind of tries to force you to do the cop fights is that it puts the triggers in walkways you have to go through and around tags. But with some really careful movement in just a minute, we'll be able to avoid the other 2, including the biggest cop fight in the game, which is just a nightmare to do.
Yeah, it's so big that it spawns enough cops that your Xbox goes from about 60 FPS, which is native to the game, to about 40, and it just chugs. It is a pain, and so we're going to avoid it, thank goodness.
So this is the first part of avoiding that trigger. We're going to jump around the regular entrance, come in from the side, and then move very carefully around this tag, and no cops.
There we go.
And then we can just finish cleaning up the top level of this area and proceed as mostly intended.
As mostly intended, yes. We've actually left a couple tags down below that are easier to get to from the top down. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes routing. I want to shout out some of the routers and people that have put so much time into optimizing this game. It is really well done, such as picking up this tag right here at the end, making sure we have the proper canagement, a portmanteau of can and management, to have just enough to hit this graffiti soul and then pick up this last tag while just avoiding the cop trigger that's just past that.
So this dance sequence signals that we have completed the graffiti and cop triggers are now deactivated so we can move wherever we want. This gate is also now open because the game just assumes that you did what you were supposed to, so we're fine.
Shout out to Birthday Cake right now, the song playing, one of the most divisive ones, and it is very familiar. I see people chuckling around because it is definitely one of the fun ones to listen to when you get stuck in a level.
Yeah, listening to it on repeat is no fun even if you like the song.
It's an experience.
Yeah. All right, now we head into the last level of Chapter 2. This is 99th Street.
Thank you.
DJK is stealing my thunder.
You know, that's what he does. He is a fantastic radio DJ. I'm actually surrounded by 2 DJs and me. It's hilarious.
I'm so sorry. This is one of the most iconic levels in the area, or in the game rather. This very pink neon style is what a lot of people associate with the Jet Set Radio games. And I can't blame them, it looks incredible.
Yeah, remember this is a 2002 game. This art style is fantastic and is really innovative for the era. Woo! Let's go, another frame boost. Just saves a minuscule amount of time, but it's very cool and very swag. Yomsa is going to go ahead during this cop dialogue to jump out of bounds and get into the area with the cops even faster. Way to go.
That trick is called Quick Light. It's a little bit tricky. It's very easy to fall into the void and soft lock your game there if you're not careful. So,
yep. From that cop fight that we've jumped into, we have a whole bunch of spotlight cops there. They've got spotlights and then gunners at the top. Again, another measured and reasonable response. And instead of running around and getting shot while tagging them, we're going to fly all over these roofs like Spider-Man and just use all of our cool movement tech to tag them from above.
That's a pretty new route, isn't it? It's a pretty recent addition to the run.
Yeah, and it's very, very cool. It's really a visually wild route to look at, if not a little bit just going all over the place.
It's so impressive that this game came out in 2002 and people have been running it for a long time and we're still finding all of these new routes and optimizations.
Yeah, it's so fun to just experiment around, and again, when everybody enjoys moving around it so much, there's always chances for optimization.
Yeah.
So right up here we've got we've tagged the left side or the light side, so we need to get back to the center. So Yomsa's gonna go ahead, clip into this wall, check that tower, we'll be seeing it, that's where we need to go, and boom, use the death warp to teleport right through the wall. From here, we switch characters and reload the level. Like I said before, the cop triggers spawn after the dialogue finishes. So what happens if we don't let them finish? We're going to do exactly that with the DJ Professor K dialogue tutorial there. That tells us how to get back. We interrupt the cop dialogue and prevent the cop dialogue from ever finishing, so therefore the triggers never spawn and we won't be doing any more cop fights this level.
Yeah, so the other half of this level has a more difficult cop fight, but this skip allows us to not do that at all and to just finish up our graffiti. Coming up, we're also going to see a really cool jump.
Yeah, this is a really cool piece of movement from here, from Yomsa, doing a very fast route, very precise jumps. Love the enthusiasm from behind me. I really appreciate it.
I was going to say, we really brought the ultimate hype men.
We really did.
We're wearing noise-canceling headphones and we can hear them. All right, so this is the dark side of 99th Street, the other half, and we're just going to finish cleaning up graffiti because we skipped this cop fight. We're going to do a bunch more cool, weird jumps, going to pick up a few more graffiti souls. Relatively straightforward.
Yep, if we have time for like one donation, if we have one that's come through, we can read that just right now.
Gotcha. I have $25 here from Ace Bat saying, I love Jet Set Radio. Used to play it all the time on my Nintendo Game Boy Advance. So excited to see such an amazing game beaten by an even more amazing runner. Shoutouts to Zaikumi and happy birthday, Alice.
Dude packed all the in-jokes into one message. Way to go.
Could not get more value for your money than that. That was incredible. Yeah. That was the end of the graffiti route here. It teleports us back to the light side to make sure that we have the capability of getting this dialogue to tell us that we need to fight Rapid 99 at the top of Benton Tower. So we're going to go up there and challenge them to a flag battle.
Technically, this is the first soul checkpoint in the game. The game won't let you progress if you haven't picked up 5 souls, but there are so many easy-to-grab souls in the early game that like is never an issue. Most people don't even know there's a checkpoint here.
Yeah, that's exactly true. And so now we're going to go into the flag battle. It's a best 3 of 5 in a 3v1. So we're going to have to pick up a lot of flags, or we're going to have to use an alternate win condition again. The other way to win the battle is turn a 3v1 into a 0v1. So what Yomsa is going to do is run into Rapid 99 in a very precise way and then launch them into the water. So we'll see that right here as she fires a boost, stuns them into the water, takes the third one, stuns them in. There we go. And what they will do is try and pathfind to the flag you see on your screen right now. The problem with that is when they get out of the water, there's a giant lake in between them and the flag, so they pathfind directly back into the water, taking damage over and over and over again until they are defeated. And that is called Curse of the Evil Mushroom.
And with that, we're done with Chapter 2, and we're going into Chapter 3, which we're going to see very little of because we have a pretty major skip coming up.
Yeah, so the kind of Poison Jam arc is going to reach its conclusion this chapter. We find that they are in the sewers here, which people may remember from their casual playthrough as a painful, tough, falling down all over the place level, and it is a whole bunch of not fun. It sure would be nice if we could skip that.
That would be so wonderful.
You think someone's developed some kind of sewer skip throughout the years?
That would be so convenient and so fortunate. You know what would be even better if there was an even faster version of it.
That would be crazy, and that's what we'll be seeing here. It is by far the hardest trick, individual piece of movement in the run as far as precision is required. It requires near frame perfect timing at a perfect height and a perfect angle. So we'll be hopefully seeing that here in just a minute.
This trick is called Cucumber also. This is part of an ongoing trick name theme that will become apparent in a couple of levels.
There are a lot of vegetables that apparently make great trick names, and absolutely we'll be going over them later.
One of the other runners of this game was joking that whenever we do an in-person marathon, we have to bring a bunch of vegetables for the run, and I just remembered that joke exists now, so it's a bit late for that. But
all right, we're going to be quiet for this.
All right.
And I don't think they like strangers up in their house, you know what I'm saying?
Let's go! Let's go!
All right, so with that, we have skipped not only the entire sewer level, but also the tutorial to the sewers, which is you have to do if you're doing the like regular original sewer skip. That trick is insanely hard, and getting it first try is insane. But Yomsa is crazy. So.
Yeah, for reference, that was discovered in 2017, only replicated once to 2020, and now it's part of the run. Here she's going to jump up on that rail, do a 2-frame trick, jump, clip out of bounds, and that's going to land us directly where we want to be at the Poison Jam Tagger's tag. That is so fast and so cool.
All right, so here we meet Cube, who is the leader of Poison Jam, who is going to evil monologue at us and tell us her evil plans. We're also going to see, this is the Goddess of the Streets statue, which Poison Jam stole earlier in Dogenzaka Hill. Forgot to mention that. Whatever.
Yeah, so we'll be doing a Tagger's tag battle against Poison Jam, and that'll be a common thing that we do throughout the run. What we have to do is spray the back of Poison Jam as we just follow them around this level. Poison Jam is tough because they're very durable. They take 30 cans to defeat, and we can only hold 30 cans. So this is a really precise set of movement that allows them to be taken out very quickly. But again, if there are any mistakes, we have to go back for extra cans, and that's slow.
Added layers of complication. This entire fight happens on these rails and in these half pipes, which have super weird physics. So I have to be really careful about managing their speed. And also, if you bump into the Poison Jam, it messes their AI up and sends them completely off path, and they're really, really difficult to catch up with.
Yep, so Yomsa's picking up the last of the cans there, picks up 30, and as long as she's in range for the entire duration of this, that is going to be the Poison Jam Tagger's tag completed. And that's chapter 3.
And with that, we have defeated Poison Jam. Goodbye, lizard friends.
Sorry, lizard friends. We will see you only once more.
Now we move into the infamous Chapter 4, which is where the run gets really hard.
Chapter 4 by far is the most mechanically difficult part of the run and is really both very rewarding to play, but it's also very punishing and very difficult. Of course, no problem for a god gamer like Yomsa.
And why'd they go and do a thing like that?
We're also going to meet our next chunk of the game's rival gang. Oh, also, the rival gang has kidnapped Yo-Yo. Plot update.
His dog's very sad.
Yeah, this is Potts. We aren't going to see him again, but he exists.
Yep. So yeah, these are the noise tanks. They will be the villains from chapters 4 through 6. And yeah, DJK's got it.
Yeah. Why are we even here?
I have no understanding.
Yeah.
Used to control the skyscraper district.
Want me to throw in a donation during the cutscene?
Go for it.
All right. It's a short one here. $25 for PCF from Nay, saying rollerblades.
Perfect.
$10 here from Miku DS saying, it's so good to see JSRF back at GDQ. Good luck on the run, Yomsa. I know you'll kill this run with your eyes closed anyway. Love this community. Love this game. 2024 is our year. Shout out to Def 7.
The whole gang coming through.
We appreciate the whole gang.
All right, so we're heading into Hikage Street. First, we're gonna do a weird little piece of movement. This is called boostless bus jump because the other version of this involves boosting onto this bus, but we discovered a boostless setup.
Yeah, that's pretty precise as well. You have just a very tight window to get the angle correct in order to jump up there. Use the ramp, the little slope incline to get on top of the bus platform and grab both those graffiti souls. Again, we need 20 of those before about 40 more minutes of the run pass.
Yeah. So at the start of Hikage, we're going to see another instance of doing things during introductory cop dialogue. We're going to run straight forward into this center area of Hikage, climb up a tower, and do some tags before the fight spawns in.
Yep, so Hikage's broken down into a center, a left, and a right section, and we can choose what to do first. So we're opting to do the center section first. More specifically, we're going to try and get 3 tags right up here. So as soon as Yomsa jumps up here, we're going to spray this extra large, and with the last line of dialogue here, she's going to spray the super small and then hit the medium right before hitting the trigger.
And so now we see the introduction of one of the weirder villains of the game, the Terror Drone, which is this big spider robot situation.
Couldn't put it better. That is exactly what it is. It is a machination of the mind of Hayashi as he is piloting this thing. We're going to go ahead and jump right on the front of it. Great jump. And then at the halfway point, it'll play this cutscene as it's kind of starting to fail, and we just have to spray the rest of it to finish it off.
Yeah, this is a little bit tricky because the Terror Drone has very weird kind of cling on the rails, and so it sometimes just likes to fling you off. But that didn't happen because yomsa is simply too good.
Yeah, I landed in a weird way, so I was a little scared, but it worked out.
No, we're fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, again, it is rather precise, and little geometry things, especially in older games when you don't have many polygons, can really cause a lot of problems, but no problem there as the Terror Drone is carted away.
Yeah. So then we're just gonna run around the rest of this branch of Hikage, finish spraying. The thing that's really frustrating about this area is that it has all of these towers, and there isn't usually an easy way to get back up if you fall. So we have to be very careful to get everything we need sorted up here before we fall.
Yeah, unlike a lot of the other levels, this level doesn't really have a lot of forgiveness to it. If you miss these rails that Yomsa's jumping to, or mismanage your speed slightly, get the wrong type of jump, you will just launch yourself to the bottom and you have to climb all the way back up. And that is a very common scenario where you can lose minutes on this just jumping up and down over and over again.
The Terror Drone also spits out bombs that knock you off of the rails and will send you falling back to the ground, so that is very frustrating to deal with casually also.
That graffiti soul is the most precise pickup in the entire game.
I hate that soul so much. I route around not having to pick up that soul because I miss it so often.
Yeah, it's strangely precise. The only way to pick it up is via that boost, and you really only have about a less than a quarter-second window to get that jump off, and the camera does you no favors there.
Yeah. So now we're going to go into a normal cop fight. The only interesting thing about this one is that we have the introduction of, not the introduction of, but we have these armored cops, which are the ones wearing the black heavier armor. And these ones you have to boost into to knock down. So if you enter this area without any cans, you have to climb up to get them.
Two-frame jump right there called quick Hikage, in order to get that nice turn there and save a whole bunch of time. Nice job.
We're so creative with the naming of tricks.
Look, we get blamed if we call it fruit. We get blamed if we call it something descriptive. What do you want from us?
I don't know.
Well, fair enough. All right, that's the end of the left side there. There's not a whole lot of graffiti on that side, and that leaves us with just the right side to pick up. Again, there's going to be another cop fight, and then a sequence, a really cool sequence of movement that will let us finish up this entire graffiti route.
The right side is a little bit nicer than the other ones because it has this crane up the middle. So if you fall, you don't have to climb all the way back around. You can just ride up this crane, which is considerate of the game, I guess.
I'll call it considerate if you wish. I don't know why they put it in only this side and not any other, but we'll take it here. Here it is right now. Got a graffiti soul on it, so you can't miss it. And then it's just really cool movement on these high up platforms. Again, if any movement goes wrong, she falls all the way to the bottom. And you know what? That wouldn't be great, but again, Yomsa is far too goated to do that.
Too powerful. Unstoppable. Oh.
Ace, why did you say that?
She stared at me. I have never...
You have to go home.
Gotta book my flight out of here. Goodness. Whew, sorry.
Commentator's curse.
Hey,
It's okay. In the grand scheme of things, that's like a relatively minor issue to deal with. We got first try cucumber. Like, we're fine.
Yeah.
And it's the area with the crane, so...
Yeah, so forgiving. Let's hope Yomsa's as forgiving about my cursing as the level is to that jump. So that wraps up everything in Hikage as soon as we pick up a bonus can for this spray here, and we will tag that, and that's Hikage done.
We're gonna pick up one more soul on the way out, and then head into the other hardest trick in the game. It's hard for a different reason, so it like also equally warrants the title of hardest trick in the game.
Yeah, JSRF doesn't rely on too many hard tricks and individual pieces where, you know, you either get it or you lose a whole bunch of time. Cucumber is one of the only ones of that. Instead, this one's going to be another one of these cop movement things where we need to get a certain amount of movement done while the dialogue is going. There are 34 seconds of dialogue, and the window we have to hit that is roughly a quarter second, maybe up to half a second if we're feeling really generous and the movement is very excellent. So it is a very tight piece of movement that is really cool to watch. It's the ultimate movement skill test in this run.
Yeah. So we are heading into Kibogaka Hill, the next area of this chapter. What's going to happen is that when we go in, there is going to be some cop dialogue, and when the dialogue finishes, a bunch of helicopters are going to spawn in. What we are going to try to do is get all of the graffiti in the helicopter spawn area, and then exit the spawn area before the helicopters can spawn.
Yeah, it is, again, very difficult. We're going to tag almost everything and just try and book it out of town, so that'll be coming up here in just a second.
After this cutscene, we'll shut up so Yomsa can focus.
Do you want us to talk during this?
Bury all the Immortals graffiti in your home.
Let her go.
All right, here we go.
First, we need cams,
Important.
and then we go.
Okay, now we go.
Okay, it's a little bit close, but it should work.
Okay.
Here we go. So the trigger box ends right here, and
did
the
it.
dialogue's done there.
So you'll notice there are a couple more tags that we went by. We'll grab those at the end by resetting the level with a character switch again. But that is the bulk of the trick.
Yeah, that is, again, the most precise movement. 34 seconds of perfect movement. And again, if you mess up so much as a little bit of movement in air or fumble jumping on a roof or anything like that, this is not geometry you're supposed to be jumping on. Everything goes just completely sideways and you don't hit the trick. It is so cool how often she can hit that.
Another thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that your controls are always camera relative, and your camera will shift to display the graffiti. So during that whole sequence of movement, you're also having to deal with your controls changing every time you spray graffiti. It's really confusing and hard to get a grasp on.
Yeah, it is one of the hardest things to understand as a fledgling runner, but again, of course, Yomsa, being a little more experienced in that, is not going to do that. This is called very scary looking jump. This is very scary because you think you miss it, but you don't.
It's pretty scary, I gotta say.
My heart rate was pounding clearly.
I mean, mine was too, but that's just been a concept this whole time.
That's been baseline for 45 minutes
Yes.
or so. Yeah. So, so that's the end of the graffiti as far as out on the level. This one, Kibogaka Hill goes from very long of a level to a very short level when you can skip the extra lap that the helicopters require. So what we're going to do, as twinkachu said, is reset the dialogue and go again for some more graffiti. This one's much more forgiving, though, especially with that boost at the start there. So she's going to spray that extra large tag on the rail, jump over to this large here, cling onto that, and then as soon as this extra large is done, we're done with the level. This is the last line of dialogue, but we don't get to the end of it.
That's a successful heli skip.
That is a successful heli skip, and as far as I'm concerned, the mark of a successful run is cucumber plus heli skip. We are working on a borrowed run as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, this will be great.
Perfect. So we'll be heading all the way over to the Skyscraper District in Faro Park. That's a good long distance from here, so if we have any time for roughly 2 donations, we could do that now.
Yeah, we're just walking.
Sure thing. Before I get you a donation, just wanted to let everyone out there know that there's currently a poll going on Games Done Quick Twitter. We have the Red Bull Daily Recap following this run, and Social has a little question out there for you. If you'd like to participate, follow us on Twitter at Games Done Quick. And just one donation here, $75 from Ahab saying had to donate during JSRF and stoked for Bomb Rush Cyberpunk later this week. Shout out to my fellow GGs, Micah and Maddie. Let's get Arkham City's hard mode because that's how it's done.
Very nice. That is, we are looking forward to Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. You'll see a lot of us sitting in the audience for that one, as it's the most modern JSRF-like game. Jet Set Radio series spawned a whole bunch of games that follow this style, and they're really just a lot of fun to play, a lot of fun to listen to, and they're just great experiences.
Big fan. All right, so we're heading into the Skyscraper District. What's interesting about this level is that it's kind of structured differently from most other levels. Generally, riding around on rails, doing graffiti. This area is all platforms and then the void. And so we're going to make careful use of manipulating where we fall to effectively warp around the map.
But first, we have to talk to some cops. Once again, we will have a encounter with them. This time it's only at the very, very start, and for some reason the cop dialogue doesn't need to finish for this one, mainly because it's right here. And Yomsa's actually going to do a precise setup that allows that manipulates the unarmored cops here in white to not split apart, but instead stay as a group. That is a really precise manip.
Yeah, the cop AI is generally pretty terrible, but that fight in particular, the cops are really, really prone to just wandering everywhere and being impossible to knock down.
Yeah, that rail in the middle completely ruins their pathfinding AI of trying to get them to you. And so, yeah, it causes all sorts of mayhem. So keeping them corralled up and grouped so, again, they can fall over is really fantastic.
Also, we're going to spray down Hayashi again. Poor guy.
Cannot catch a break today.
And then we go into the bulk of the graffiti in the level.
Yep, this is the biggest level that exists. It's honestly impressive for the original Xbox how big this level is. It's just massive.
It's a nightmare to navigate if you don't know exactly where you're going.
Yeah, one of the things you have to do is just learn your way around Skyscraper District or just memorize the route really, really well.
Yeah.
Yomsa has, of course, done that, but attempts to make a death warp here is going to have to take a quick backup on it.
That jump off of that box is relatively precise.
It's finicky because the geometry of it's so bad. You actually catch airtime for a little bit of it, and if you can't boost while you're in the air, so it causes all sorts of problems.
All right. So instead of hitting a death plane, we're just going to walk over to where the tag we were headed to next spawns from the respawn point that we hit, which is probably faster than attempting it again.
That's okay. That's a tactical death warp. That's going to put us right in front of a graffiti here that we're going to spray very quickly and then head back towards the starting location where we're going to spray even more graffiti.
And yeah, we're doing a slightly different route here just for marathon safety. The usual route for this area will get you down to 1 health coming up in a little bit, and that is scary, and it only loses a couple of seconds to do something different. So for the sake of not killing the run an hour in, we're gonna avoid that.
Yeah, generally a very nice thing to do is not end the run prematurely. So with that, we're going to take out all of the tags over there and then go for Onion, which is a wonderful trick name.
Ace, why is it called that?
That building has layers, donkey.
Did you have to say it like that?
Yes. As we recompose ourselves, Yomsa will continue tagging graffiti and spray this large here. This is a point where we would have 1 health, so this is where the safety strats kick in by just doing things in a different order. Those health cans go ahead and restore us back up, so we would be fine now, but again, just for that extra bit of safety, we have restructured this level.
The jump to those cans in particular is scary because your boost runs out halfway through it, and so it looks like you're just gonna fall out of the air.
Yep. Otherwise, this route has been unchanged for almost 7.5 years. It has been very impressive seeing this route of all of them endure with how big and wide open this level is. It really is impressive that the first route we came up with was just the route that stuck for such a long time, so really nice with that.
Yeah, there are very few other levels where that's the case, other than levels that are just like a circle. where there's not a whole lot of complicated routing at play.
Yeah, Dogenzaka Hill, you can't do anything complicated. You're in a line, and it's essentially just run in this direction, and there's no possibility for alternative. But this, being one of the most complicated and wide open levels in the entire game, is really wild, and having such a good route for it has been very nice.
Yeah. So this is the last tag of this area, and then we're going to jump all the way out of the map to an area that the game doesn't think we'll be able to get to with a boost jump, which will teleport us right back to the center.
Yeah, every map has a contingency. If you get out of bounds way farther than we expect you to get, we'll just teleport you back to the start, and that's exactly what's been done here to go ahead and trigger this Immortals fight.
Watch out.
So these are the Immortals. We'll see them a little bit this chapter. They're another rival gang. Gonna do a tagger tag with them.
Now that Immortals fight was rather quick, if I had to say. So we normally would have to spray all 3 of those Immortals, but instead we got away with only spraying half of them, and I honestly could not tell you the why to that, only that that's what happens. And instead we'll have to fight them over in Highway 0 here in just a minute.
Yeah, I like to say that right around there is where development on this game ran out of budget. The game is going to just go procedurally more off the rails from this point.
It definitely takes creative liberties with things like storytelling, physics, reasonability, and suspension of disbelief, but that's okay.
Enemy design.
Yeah, honestly, it's great. By the way, that's Yo-Yo. Shout out to Yo-Yo. We found kidnapped Yo-Yo. He's stuck in that cage, and we're going to have to beat the Immortals for real this time. We're going to do a fast fight in order to spray the first one down. Despite their name, they actually have the least amount of health in the game, which honestly is just hilarious. Great irony in that.
Poor guys.
And with only 12 cans required to take them out, Yomsa finishes that fight extra fast. Yo-Yo here in the cage pulls the Uno reverse card, and all of a sudden we are the ones in the cage fuming and mad, and Yo-Yo is actually allied with the Immortals. Oh no, what will we do?
Plot twist.
Shocking.
Now we're getting into the most action-packed chapter of the game.
So, as DJK will explain, we have fallen for the trap, and we're headed off to the Rokaku Expo Stadium, where we are going to be forced to play their maniacal games in order to... I don't even know what they're trying to do with it, to be perfectly honest.
I don't know either. Again, the plot kind of goes off the rails from here, so who really knows what anyone's doing?
We'll try and help along. The noise tanks find enjoyment in making us play their sick and twisted game, so I guess we have to oblige.
Yeah. All right, so we are in the Expo Stadium. This is Jazz, a character we won't see again, but she's a fan favorite and also a speedrun community favorite, more specifically.
Shout out to Jazz and her scarf.
Big fan.
So what we're going to have to do up ahead, or what we're supposed to do, is play Death Ball, which is a custom game just for this chapter, where you take this ball that Jazz is currently holding and run and do an entire lap of this whole stadium. And if you do that, you win. You can pass it between your teammates, but overall the ball cannot touch the ground before you do that lap. So what the game has you do here is a tutorial for this, where you practice running passes with Jazz. Behind the scenes, it is a 2-minute timer of auto-scrolling, and nothing can be done to it. This is a great time to take a break and things like that if you're doing a run, which means is a great time for us to do exactly 2 minutes of donations.
All right, I'll try to nail the estimate. Here's a $10 donation from Sally the Bun. We've been killing it on the incentives so far, and we can't let it stop now. Come on, chat, let's get that hard mode unlocked. That's right, thanks, Sally. Referring there to an upgrade to hard mode on the Batman Arkham City run coming up next. We want to raise $25,000 for the Prevent Cancer Foundation to make that happen. Thanks to your generosity, we've already raised over $14,000, so just a little bit more to go there during JSRF here. $50 from Pitman Lionhouse helping out. Super excited to make our first donation of the marathon after a wonderful opening day. We've worked our way up to a chance to win that 20 pounds of whip, as Sent so eloquently put it earlier. 100K on the first day, hype, less than 3. And yeah, Pitman, I did the math, did something scary, I did math, and if we met the Batman Arkham City incentive right now, we would be only about $1,000 away from 100K on the first day.
Sounds like a great goal to head towards.
Indeed. And helping us reach it, $100 from Noise Tank JGR had to donate during one of my favorite games of all time, Jet Set Radio Future, and always look forward to GDQ. $30 here from NDLATQP saying, leave no incentive behind. Batman needs some help. But before that, Jet Set Ready Go! $25 here from Auxilify, JSR Hype. Let's end cancer with the concept of love. Yeah, a lot of references coming in here. $25 from Chuck Nicey. Hello, Yomsa and Couch. Glad to be at my first GDQ in person. Being here is like having a slice of birthday cake. You won't find speedruns like this, like that, anywhere. Not even on aisle 10. Let's teach everyone the concept of love. Thank you, Chuck. That's great.
There are 30 songs in this game, and that was 4 or 5 consecutive references to them. The soundtrack is phenomenal, though, and we're glad to have it and bop into it.
When we ran this at Frame Fatales a couple of years ago, someone donated with a message that used every single OST song title. It was genuinely impressive.
Oh, wow. I have one more, maybe not as impressive, but $25 from Jeff saying, Hideki Naganuma's music in JSRF is some of my all-time favorite. Looking forward to hearing the concept of love. $25 from Alshline saying, while I work to understand the concept of love, I find myself humming the bass line. But that's enough. We should let mom sleep. I love you, AGDQ. Let's keep donating to Shape the Future.
Okay, we're at 10. Can we hit the other 20 songs before the end of this run?
Possibly. Let's go, chat.
Real quick, so this is Death Ball, as definitely intended here. Yomsa has clipped out of bounds and is running with the ball out of bounds here. Once we get past a halfway mark, which you can see indicated on the line at the bottom of the screen, you can, if you fall out of bounds, which we have done here, it will assume you're past the halfway mark. Kind of like a Mario Kart checkpoint, and warp us all the way to the front. So now we're right close to the goal marker, and we haven't done half of an entire lap, but it doesn't matter. The round 1 is done.
Yeah, this is a relatively new strategy. I will explain the other one, the previous one, when we go into the next race, because we're going to have to do this 3 times for some reason.
Yeah, this chapter 5 is, again, they're watching us, the Noise Tanks are watching us play their sick and twisted game, and the rival gangs, you know, they don't care if they lose, or the Noise Tanks don't care, they just want to see everybody suffer, and so yeah, now we'll go up against the Immortals. As referenced earlier, they have the least amount of health in the game, which could work in our advantage. We don't do it anymore, but it is an older strat.
Yeah, so the previous strategy for this and the next Death Ball race was that you did the same clip out of bounds, which breaks the enemy AI, and then you literally punch them to death. In a game without combat mechanics, so you're just relying on your collision, you can run into them repeatedly, and eventually they die and it ends the race.
Yeah, similar to the Rapid 99 victory earlier, again, if you take out your opponent's health, you also win. But as we found fairly recently, as Twinkachu mentioned, this clip out of bounds into the teleport through half the lap is about 1 second faster and about 100 times more consistent. Again, this game is made for skating and movement and art and other cool things that are not combat mechanics. So collisions between characters do not register properly, and you can do everything correctly and still just not have a good time with those old strats. So this new method of clipping out of bounds and then warping halfway across the level is fantastic.
This strategy also works with the first gang we raced against, the Doom Riders, who have way too much health to bump into to death, and so previously you actually just had to do a full lap of the area.
How dare we do it as intended?
Not even as intended, because you're not like passing the ball to Jazz, though. You're just grabbing it and running.
Yeah, we're a little more skilled than the AI is, so even in the Darken Ages where we had to do a whole lap, forbid us from doing that, we're still much faster than the AI.
The AI in this game being kind of terrible is a recurring theme and continues to be a thing that we both exploit and have to work around constantly.
It's a blessing and a curse for sure, because it's just, sometimes it works in your favor and sometimes it doesn't. So once again, for the third time, go up, do a short hop out, and then use the wall rides for extra speed, which, by the way, they work on both sides. There's actually wall rides on the other side, but the physics works on them for both sides, which is just great.
Very convenient.
Yeah, they're a little bit faster than skating around. They give us about 30% more movement speed, so we use them as often as we can instead of skating. Here's the walk out of bounds. Don't look at that tower on the left. I'm sure that won't come back in at any point.
Spoilers.
Oh my goodness. And we'll go out of bounds. And because this is the third race, Yomsa is going to take just a very slightly different route to pick up lots of cans because they'll transfer into the next section.
Yeah, so after this, we'll have another encounter with Hayashi and another enemy coming up right here.
They've interrupted our game. How dare they? I can't believe it. We were having such a good time.
I was so invested in that race.
I mean, it was so close. And Hayashi is going to be very happy about it.
So normal.
He's going to cackle maniacally for almost 40 seconds.
We run this game in Japanese because the dialogue boxes are faster. This is, I believe, the only dialogue that is longer in Japanese because for some reason he just keeps laughing.
Yeah, the voice actor in English talked his lines through kind of maniacally and did it. The Japanese voice actor said all the lines and then lost marbles every time and cackled maniacally every time through. Honestly, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Here we see the reappearance of the terror drone, the weird spider robot from earlier. Hayashi's just gonna keep laughing. Just gonna keep going.
So much laughing. So yeah, we see the terror drone again. It's not suspended 40 feet in the air. Instead, it is going to be on the ground, which means we avoid half the issue of dealing with it. So we jump on the front of it again, but they've added an extra weapon under the bottom, and oops, there it goes. It's already gone. Normally it'd shoot little lasers that go out in concentric rings, but it didn't have time for that.
Yeah. The lasers do a lot of damage, so it's relatively easy to die at this point in the game without a speedrun route, but not even an issue.
Nope. Cool. For some reason they put that in English. I have no idea why, but it's very funny.
That's a JSRF community Twitch chat meme just saying cool.
That'll teach you the things your parents and teachers are too afraid to.
And with that, we're done with Death Ball. Thank God. Good riddance.
Yeah, so the run resumes here with a whole bunch of really interesting movement and exciting things that do not involve doing the same lap 3 times over. Instead, the noise tanks are rioting in the streets, and there are tons of them. And they are upset and have jetpacks on their back, and they're just floating around and causing havoc on the streets. So we're going to have to go and put a stop to them.
This chapter is going to be our last couple of encounters with the noise tanks, and then we'll move on to other enemies. But to start...
Get that frame boost again going to Dogen. 2 for 2 on the run for it. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm on fire right now.
Thank you. We appreciate
thank you.
it. We appreciate you. So what we have to do during this section is knock down 200 noise tanks. All you have to do is run into them and take them out, as DJ Professor K said. And we are going to do exactly that. There are 412 of them, if I remember correctly, and we have to take out 200. So we have a very precise and selected route where we pick the most optimal 200 with a little bit of window for missing a couple of them. And it takes us all throughout the streets of Tokyo-to, going through Dogenzaka Hill, where we are now, going over to Shibuya Terminal, Chuo Street, back to Shibuya, and then all the way over.
2 things I want to call out. That soul that we just picked up is the one we unlocked in the first level of the game. We leave it until now to grab, so we don't have to, circle back. Other shout out, this is one of my favorite songs on the OST. It goes really hard.
Yeah, Technopathetic is my personal favorite to the soundtrack, and if you're in the Twitch chat, we will be watching, so if you want to shout out your favorite track right now, go for it.
It's my favorite of the OST songs you hear in any percent, I will say.
That's true. You actually don't get to hear about 50% of the song. So if you're jamming with this, there are plenty more where these came from.
Yeah.
Shout out to upcoming tank here. It's flat on the ground. I call it the plank tank because I live in 2015.
There are a couple noise tanks that are just kind of weird for no reason. There's one in Rokakudai Heights that's on top of a chimney that gets called Santa Tank.
There's one, so you may see all these noise tanks in clusters of just a couple, so they're a little more interesting to take out. There is one in the dark side of 99th Street facing a wall, dancing sadly in darkness. We call him Jeff.
I said that earlier while we were practicing, and someone was like, I don't believe you, you just made that name up right now.
That was a very precise piece of movement, again, using the concept of bus jump. Yeah? You having a good time? Using those inclines on the bus to jump up onto the bus platform. That one is very precise because you're moving so fast for it.
And with that, we're done with the noise tanks in the Shibuya areas of the game, and they're going to head off to Rokakudai Heights to get some more.
Yep, after, again, we go across the garage as the central area. We'll be going through here a couple more times, even in this section alone, where we're going to take out even more noise tanks. We'll be getting messages along the bottom here in just a minute. This one will be the kind of visual cue for us. Hey, there we go, for 150 noise tanks taken out. So we know we can proceed over to 99th Street, where we'll be able to take out the last 50.
I'm so glad you know the numbers for these, because I have no idea.
I got you.
You're here to know the numbers for things.
That's what I'm here for, and absolutely nothing else.
I'm here to specifically not know the numbers for things.
That way we can fit more of the game in our headspace. It's just efficient storage of information.
Yeah, there we go. Combine our brains, we know everything.
Are you talking about understanding the concept of numbers?
You laugh. That is an entire field of mathematics if you want to go into it. If you want to go into it, I've got professors that will absolutely ask, what is a number? And you will not be able to answer it.
Anyway, we just got... I'm cutting you off. DJK has just informed us that we need 10 more noise tanks, so we're going to count and then grab our last 2 up here on the highway so we can exit immediately.
That is the closest point to where we want to be next, so making sure we count those last 10 is just a little bit of a nice time save. And now we are informed that Poison Jam, our old rivals, we're rivaling with the noise tanks, our new rivals. So the enemy of our enemy is still our enemy, and we're going to go have to deal with all of them.
We're going into my favorite area of the game.
We casually are just not going to mention that Yomsa just walked through a wall. Those don't have collision from the side. I genuinely cannot tell you why they don't have collision from the side.
Yeah, who knows? So we're going to go into this next area and do our tagger's tag with the noise tanks, which will end this kind of chunk of the game.
Yep, we are going to enter Sky Dinosaurian Square, and just look at this place. This place is awesome. It's a giant roller coaster based on dinosaurs, and it's so cool to play in.
I want this place to be real so bad.
Shout out to the T-Rex, which you go into its mouth. It's so stinking cool, and we're going to see it as we do the tagger's tag here. Again, that's where you spray the backs of the enemies and take them out.
So here we see Yo-Yo again, who is still friends with the noise tanks. Traitor. And Cube shows up again, the leader of Poison Jam, knocking into Yo-Yo, revealing that he's been a noise tank all along.
Whoa. The plot twist of the 21st century. And now we get into the tagger's tag after Cube backflips off an explosion into the distance. Yomsa's actually going to do a very advanced route, goes after the middle noise tank first, picks up a whole bunch of cans here on the left side. These take 23 apiece to knock out, so we need a nice total of 69 cans to take them out, and we only can hold 30, so we're gonna have to pick up a whole bunch of them. Yomsa's gonna do a nice rail transfer there to pick up just a couple extra, but bumped into one just barely and is going to be launched away again. Collision physics are very, very tough, and this trick is very precise. She's instead gonna use this section to cut a corner and catch up to this noise tank and finish him off right here. Then slow down and wait for the next noise tank to come flying by.
Whoa.
He was moving with some speed right there.
He's got places to be.
He sure does, and the place he's going to be is in the void here in a second, as Yomsa goes ahead and sprays the last bit of his health down, and he is launched into the pit, and he gets spared.
When that fight goes wrong, it can go really wrong. The noise tanks can get knocked into the collision and get stuck, like, out of bounds. They can bump into you and knock you off of the track. You have to be really careful about your cans and your speed and your placement.
Yeah, there's a whole death plane, and again, all the AI characters obey the death planes that exist, so they'll be teleported back to where we started the fight, which makes a whole mess for trying to catch back up to them. So not having that go wrong is really fantastic. And now we are done with Chapter 6 and kind of the noise tanks arc of this run.
R.I.P. noise tanks.
R.I.P. They will not be missed.
And so our last chunk of the game is going to be the Golden Rhinos, who are the Rokaku Group's secret police.
Whenever you're ready,
They're
just bring it on.
Kind of.
They're a secret police, I suppose. They bring all sorts of special tactics to the table, and it's wild. Inside the remains of the noise tank, we see the insignia of the Rokaku Group. They were working for the mayor all along, the evil mayor. Who could have possibly guessed this? And yeah, here we go, get introduced to the Golden Rhinos.
The Rokaku Group is sending the Golden Rhinos, their own little secret special forces group, to tear up the streets.
In essence, they're the base cops with a slight bit more health. Yomsa, are you doing the cop fight in sequence or after the run?
Tokyo's current mayor.
What do you mean in sequence right away?
In sequence with the run.
Oh no, we're doing it after.
Cool, sounds good.
Useless police organization.
That donation incentive y'all got us $20,000 for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Thank you very much. Will be done. Would be done here. We're going to do it at the end of the run because it's just a little bit of addition of time that we do not need.
Is after the GGs.
So
Here we see the Doom Riders again. At this point, there are a bunch of optional graffiti challenges out on the map, but we're going to avoid all of them because it's any percent and we don't need them.
Yeah, for 100% they'd be done, but that run is in the realm of 5 hours long, so we're not going to do that. This is Clutch. We have one Clutch stan and about 5 million Clutch haters, but we appreciate him. He steals all of our graffiti souls that we have so meticulously gathered throughout this run. That is the 40 or 20 graffiti soul checkpoint that we need to get to, and now we're going to go chase after him.
So he's going to run off to Kibogaka Hill. If you don't catch him there, he'll run around to a bunch of areas and you have to chase him down. But we know where he's going, so we're fine.
Yeah, we've got his itinerary. Yomsa, you've hit that frame boost all 3 times you've gone this way. That's hilarious.
She cannot be stopped.
She is so good at frame boosting right now. Again, 1/60th of a second trick.
We're just going to pass through the sewers, go into Kibogaka Hill, where we'll see something weird happen.
Yeah, so we know Clutch is going to Kibogaka Hill. We only have 90 seconds to get there, and there's a cop fight in the way. So you see how as soon as we get into the level, we hit the cop trigger to go in there, and it spawns all the cops. If we reload the level, we're no longer in the cop trigger, so the cops haven't spawned in yet. At that point, we're able to just bypass the electric fence that would prevent us from going up these stairs, pick up Clutch, and then leave and respawn the cops in, and then say sayonara.
Next, we're going into a level that is a speedrun community fan favorite. The movement in this area is so smooth and so satisfying to watch.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and we get the iconic soundtrack, title track concept of love here. So we've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes. We're just going to be quiet for a little bit and let the tunes and the gameplay speak for themselves.
We'll explain what's going on in a minute, but enjoy.
And friendship. And because of it, your pitiful little lives will end in a grand display of fireworks.
The Golden Rhinos are playing a time bomb somewhere in the fortified residential zone. First, spray the blue device and stop that timer. First, spray the blue device to stop it.
And as we finish up this section, sub 1 minute on that first section. Very, very cool, very nice movement there.
So,
Serving and slaying right now.
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Let's see how well you fare.
So we have to do that whole thing again, but the upper section of the fortified residential zone is a little bit more complex, a little cooler for the movement, so we can go through it, but we will continue to jam to the understand the concept of love, so we will continue to do that.
Yeah. At this point, the game is like trying to give you some time pressure by adding a timer, but they give you way too much time, so...
Yeah, we have 30 minutes to take care of it, which, to be fair, is scary when you play it like the first time and the timer's ticking and all of a sudden you realize failure's imminent and things like that. But it is absolutely no pressure if you've done it any more than one time, so it is no big deal. Yomsa's going to do some really cool jumps to pick up that bomb and then jump back onto the more intended route as she boosts across here, past the Golden Rhinos there, who cannot aim and shoot that fast. Tag another one, then jump over to the right spiral here. There's not one here, but she boosts, then figures out where she is and takes a big jump over to that bomb. And then do another hop here, boost across, and preserve that momentum and jump to another spiral staircase, which she goes to the top of, boosts across this platform, then takes a huge drop down right there, and finishes the bomb section in 1 minute and 13 seconds.
God, that movement's incredible.
It's so good. It is my favorite piece of movement in the entire game. 73 seconds of just the most enjoyable movement. From here, we are going to go rescue the real Yo-Yo at the very top of Fortified Residential Zone. So you're supposed to go all the way around here, but if you take that jump real carefully, you can just skip all that. He's in a cage again, and they are upset about that. So they're going to send in Harrier jets to go get us. They're hovering down from the sky. Last I checked,
as you do,
those are like several $100 million a piece. They're going to send 2 of them, not 4 after us, and I'm sure they'll go great.
They didn't make them spray paint proof.
What an oversight in the design phase. Both of them taken out, no damage taken, and Yo-Yo is saved.
Let's go, Yo-Yo.
Can't believe this is what my tax dollars are going to.
You're not a citizen of Japan, are you? All right, so that marks the end of Chapter 7. We're on to Chapter 8, the final chapter of this run, and honestly, it just goes completely off the rails here. It's a whole bunch of Golden Rhino bosses, but creative liberties basically don't exist at this point. It is just absolute mayhem.
We're gonna see the weirdest variety of enemies that the game has to offer in pretty quick succession.
Like, rack your imagination for the most creative enemies you can come up with. We'll see if they rival against what was implemented in this actual game that was actually distributed. It's going to be fantastic.
Do you have a moment for a couple song titles?
Go for it.
We've got
Okay,
it.
I'm assuming, I'm not super familiar with the soundtrack, but $5 from Anonymous, who says, "Rock it on, funky dealer."
2?
2 of them.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. I had it. And then there's lots of people chiming in with understand the concept of love. $20 from Mac Theo saying that. Thank you so much. I've also got a $50 from Grind Away Cancer, Hi Yomsa, Prolix, and Extended Couch. The JSRF run is exceptional. We send our love and support to everyone on and off the stage for another lovely AGDQ. Thank you. Woo.
At this point, we're going to switch to Clutch, who can hold 35 cans. From this point forward, we are just spraying down enemies, so being able to hold more cans is super helpful.
I'm talking to one person in the audience right now, the biggest Clutch stand in the entire community. Can we get a cheer for Clutch? Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Clutch is special, of course, as twinkachu said, because he holds 35 cans, and that is actually a breakpoint that allows us to take multiple fights faster, including this one against, as instructed in the game manual, his name is Shark Boy. We call him Claws Guy.
Because his arms are claws.
He's like, was it Mrs. Incredible, where he can stretch out his arms to incredible lengths, but only his arms, so yeah, he's got extendo claws. Normally you'd have to do a big long fight where he jumps on walls and tries to stab you. Instead, Yomsa's gonna boost directly into him, then spray him a whole bunch, grab some cans, then boost into him again, which knocks him down. 0 Psycho Claws is done as he is sprayed down. 1 victory for Clutch.
And then the Rokaku group is going to come in and blow this guy up for some reason.
He has failed the Rokaku group and unfortunately will be taken out by the world's slowest missiles. Again, creative liberties and physics simply do not apply anymore. This is off the rails.
We have lost the plot.
So Zero Beat, who was introduced in the cutscene there, who's kind of one of the final-ish bosses of the game, is gonna just go disappear somewhere. Whenever a character disappears, they generally indicate that you're supposed to follow them somewhere. There's only one way really out of Churro Street into Shibuya Terminal, so we're gonna go follow him all the way over to Highway 0, where we'll encounter a couple of cop fights along the way, but it is a good long trek over there, so if we have maybe a couple more song titles or any other donations that you want to get out for about a minute and a half, you've got it.
Sounds good. Well, I suppose I would be remiss if I didn't address the incentive to upgrade Batman Arkham City from any percent to hard mode. It is still open. It needs help. It needs your donations now. We've got people helping make it happen, including $50 from Batman This Thing, Riddle for the Rudies, What Flies on Graffiti Tagged Skies, Grinds Rails to Killer Beats and Zooms Around Tokyo at light speed. Why, it's the jet-propelled JSRF skaters. I've got some people out there trying to work on a donation train, $5 from Backside of Water. Holy donation train, Batman. Let's get hard mode. And $250 from Eureka. Thank you so much. They say, holy incentives, Batman. We need to raise the difficulty level of the Arkham City run. Thank you so much for donating toward that. We are running out of time to make the incentive, so get your money in for PCF now. $50 from Triumphant Basing, JSF and Bomb Rush Cyberfunk in the same event. I'm humming the bass line. I've got $15 here from Big J. Understand the concept of speed runs. Really enjoying this JSRF run and commentary. Keep it up, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, we're going into our next fight. So here we're going to see another slightly insane enemy from the Rokaku group.
Yeah, similar to how Hayashi couldn't be trusted with his weapons, this girl cannot be trusted with a flamethrower. Please take it out of her hands. She is burning down all of Highway 0, and it's very sad because Highway 0 is very cool.
This character just gets referred to as Flames Chick, or if you're thinking of Claw Guy as Shark Boy, then this is Lava Girl.
Truly incredible. So unlike Claws Guy, she does not take a boost to get knocked down, so instead she's significantly easier to take out. You just go ahead and spray that down, and boom, 2 hits, she's done.
And she's going to meet a similarly gruesome death of getting set on fire and then flattened by a billboard.
I want to appreciate our favorite mod in the entire community, which makes that billboard, instead of being some kind of Rokaku group advertisement, instead turns that into an Acme billboard with an anvil on it, and it's honestly incredible.
All right. DJK is calling for help. Something is wrong.
Oh no, what
Co-commentator.
No, we've got to save him. Where is he? Look up there. There he is.
So this helicopter has airlifted his entire radio booth for some reason.
I don't know what they're doing with that. His tech still works. He's still broadcasting. We'll see him in just a second. But they're just kidnapping his whole studio at this point. It is really wild, and we'll have to do something about that. We need to save DJK.
Really considerate of them to let him keep his equipment.
Honestly, I appreciate it. It creates a great aerial broadcast, and he's getting great reception from up there.
Seriously. All right, so we have run into Zero Beat, who is leading us into a previously locked off area of the game. This is the future site of the Rokaku line, or the Tokyo line.
Yes.
And we are going to encounter something, another contraption.
Yeah, in our splits and in general, we call it train, because it is an object that runs on rails. And that's about all of that resembles a train in any of this. We'll be seeing it there. What is that? Yeah, DJK, you got it.
Yeah, it looks like if someone who had never heard of what a train is tried to draw a train.
That is exactly right. However, this fight is really precise. The train moves faster than we do most of the time, so we need to use perfect management between these boosts and these sprays to go ahead and take out the train. We've sprayed the right side of it. We're now on the right of the left side. Yomsa's going to boost and dodge the electrified rails, which are very dangerous to us, will stun us and prevent us from catching up. 3 of them are done now. Now she does a short hop, and we're about to get electrified, but instead we're going to just barely get hit. That trick has a tiny window to be able to hit it, but don't worry, we can use the cans that we pick up here as a way to speed up the next fight against Zero Beat. So she's going to boost in and finish that fight off.
That's incredibly precise, and also a relatively new method of doing that.
Yep. Shout out to the Yomsa bunnies on the back of the train. Really nice there.
Yeah, very appropriate that this tag that all of us signed is highlighting Yomsa's sprays in this fight.
It's almost like our graphic designer put Yomsa's right in the middle.
I'm thinking that might have been a little bit intentional.
Our graphic designer is fantastic. They do an excellent job of understanding the soul of the artwork that goes into this game.
Shoutouts. All right, now we really lose the plot.
This is Goji, if you remember him from the very opening cutscene. He is the mayor of Tokyo. He's wearing some kind of crazy helmet. Zero Beat has taken over the studio. He's standing in this giant 50-foot tower that we saw in the Expo Stadium. But if you can tell me the function of this tower besides like what it does in the plot, be my guest. There's a giant rotating thing. We've got tentacles flapping like a wacky inflatable tube man.
It looks like it has some sort of like music and like radio controls, but also it's hypothetically like brainwashing people, maybe.
Yeah, it's got a hula hoop halfway down it, but it can't move, so it's just going. If you check the backgrounds during some of the scenes, there's a black hole where the sun would be.
There's also just like this random like void orb rotating around it sometimes.
It's wild. We're gonna have to take it out, and Clutch is coming to the rescue. We have 4 cans going into this, and with the interaction with the train, we also get to interact with Zero Beat in a different way, depending on how many cans we do. And there are many methods to do it. And Yomsa will select the most optimal one for the number of cans and then do it.
We also have one of the weirdest songs on the soundtrack at this point, too.
It's very cool, but also very spooky. Grace and Glory is a wild one.
Yeah. Goji is going to continue his villain monologue and also start absorbing the civilians around him, just sucking them into his tower.
Yeah, the NPC models are just orbiting and being sucked into the middle of this tower because that's evil, I suppose. I don't understand the means to the end, but he's grooving and causing problems, so we're gonna have to stop him. But before we do that, we're gonna have to deal with his son's Zero Beat.
These two weird robots we've been chasing around this whole time.
Yeah, they have the same stats and voice lines and everything as Beat, but they're like metal floating pieces. I've played this game for 7 years. I do not understand it whatsoever as far as what this is supposed to be other than just artistic liberties.
So these blue orbs coming out of the tower are going to be Zero Beat getting rocketed out into the street, and then we're going to chase them around.
Yep, we've got another Tagger's Tag battle with them, and we'll see them taken out in quick order, I'm sure. Yomsa's going to jump over to the left here, then pick up a bunch of cans over this traffic post and across this jump. Then she's going to line up just behind this one in order to start spraying it in just a little bit. So there it goes. They take 21 cans apiece to take out. So she's going to line up behind it and just barely get in time and take the first one out. Then she's going to jump down and refuel, get a whole bunch of cans here on this very generous rail, fill up to exactly the amount needed, intercept the Zero Beat as soon as possible, and then jump and spray this one down as well. There we go.
All right. So now we're heading into the final boss of the game, now that Zero Beat has been defeated.
Now, who could that be?
I have no idea. I've never played this game before.
Me either. I can't believe how much we know about this despite never playing it.
I was just guessing mostly.
You are the world's greatest guesser. He said the name. He said the name.
He's saying the thing.
There it is. There it is.
And we're going for the most important trick in the run, which is called Pickle, which is you shove yourself at this wall. It does nothing, but it looks kind of cool.
Yeah, any kind of clip through a wall is a pickle, which is why the half-pipe one is called a variant of it, a cucumber. We did not get it because the game decides that it tries not to let us through walls most of the time, but sometimes it just does. It's kind of inconsistent that way.
All right, so now we're also going to get sucked into this tower and enter the final boss stage, which looks like this, of course.
Yeah, genuinely, if you have motion sickness or this background causes you some kind of eerie feelings, I'm being completely serious here, you can look away for a little bit. It'll be about 2 minutes. So go do something for about 2 minutes. We'll be right back with this, and you won't have the background to deal with. Instead, for everybody else, we're going to go ahead and deal with Goji and take him out to complete this run.
Yeah, he's going to continue his evil villain monologue and then do magical girl transformation into Akamu, the final boss.
Now, this, as far as mechanics of boss fights have been going this entire run, we've had to generally boost enemies down and then spray them. And they thought, let's up the difficulty on this final boss. So what we're going to do is make you boost them twice.
2 whole times.
The players will never be ready for it. So we're going to boost into him once, then drop down for cans. This will allow us to complete, he's going to be stunned on the ground for a little bit where we can't boost or spray him. And that is just a little bit of time where he could be getting canned. So instead, we'll be can perfect on the way back, and once we boost and spray into him, time will be called.
The real challenge of the final boss here is just getting up to the platform more than anything. All right, boost down, and time will be when the screen goes black once his health bar is empty.
In 3, 2, 1, time. Great job. That run is fantastic.
How far off a world record is that? That's like a couple minutes off.
That is 2 minutes using marathon safe strats with all of the nerves of GDQ. That run is phenomenal. But we're not done yet. Stick with us because we're going to be doing the donation incentive that you all graciously put the money towards. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. I guess.
Let the final go to the, I don't know what scene it is. We'll call the epilogue real quick. Goji's tower blows up and everything is happily ever after, or is it? And he hints at a sequel that
They just announced that they're making another game. I don't know if it's going to be like a sequel or a remake, but maybe.
Yeah. We'll let DJK finish up this run right here.
These scraps of paper we call money. Oppressive laws set forth by corrupt men. None of these can ever extinguish the yearning for freedom felt in the hearts of all mankind. Graffiti souls are the symbols of Tokyo's freedom. And
I'm now realizing it's been a very long time since I've seen this cutscene. Forgot how ridiculous it is.
He was not strong enough to overcome.
It fits the game.
It does.
He had been doomed from the beginning. However, his existence might be nothing more than a symbol of the guilt that people feel for all their greed and desire. Or perhaps Tokyo has shown that it is one giant radio brotherhood. Perhaps he too realized this in the end. Those that seek the truth will fight tooth and nail to find it. Better believe that. And so, the radio will once again play static and worn-out tunes. And the TV will return to being nothing more than a square plastic box. Our world is normal again, all right. But the graffiti left on the walls will remind people of their inner passions. It'll burn into their minds, and the dreams of the city will be carried on through the streets. People gonna remember.
All right.
Incentive time, or what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So unfortunately, I have to go to my Xbox menu to reload the game. The cutscene, or the credits, sorry, is like 10 minutes long, so.
Yeah, the
Not
credits
gonna
are
let that.
unskippable 5 minutes of. It's this great medley of all of the songs in the game, or a good pile of them. But unfortunately, there is no way to get past it, and we do have other things to do this evening, so we're going to go ahead and show you the secret car fight.
Oh. Okay, wait, sorry. I messed up.
Well, we can provide some background on this fight while we're getting set
Yeah,
up.
absolutely.
So this got discovered 2 years ago. It is a fight that has been in the game this entire time that nobody knew about because the trigger for it is out of bounds.
Yeah, there is one of our modders and science people, Daft, in the background, actually discovered it. Thank you for waving. He was cataloging every single mission that exists in this game. It is, so we were warping around and checking every number basically for a whole bunch of missions, and he found this one car fight that we never knew existed. It didn't have any links to the game or anything like that. So we started looking around and doing some science on it, and we happened to find the box, the trigger box, that starts that mission. And it is deep out of bounds in Chuo Street here. So what we have to do is come up here and then stop right here and then do this really precise boost, jump on top of this, and yeah, that's the physics for this are not generous. But if we can jump into that pit and then to the left a little bit, we're going to drop into the fight. And there is really the first big public demo of this car fight. Now you warp out of bounds and it puts you outside the fence, but that is no problem for us.
So this was just sitting in the game undiscovered for like 20 years.
Dead serious, secret for 20 years and just happened to find it via missions. The cop AI here is
Terrible.
I was going to say fantastic. I mean, look at it. What more could you want? How did that, where did that come from? So they drive around and they do run into you eventually, but they also, as everything, dive very quickly to spray paint. These things.
And also when you spray them, they explode.
I mean, that's just typical at this point, but like, this is how some of y'all drive. I can't handle it. Come on, you got to do better than that. Just, so what? There's an inch of snow on the ground. So there's two more to. What is this parking?
It's inside another car.
And there it goes. Oh my goodness. And to wrap it up, yeah, this car's going to do its very best, but it is very simple to take out. And that is the secret cop fight undiscovered for 20 years.
I forgot just how terrible the car AI is.
It is fantastic.